Hot Mike Justin caught in a lie. Welcome to my channel, y'all. I hope you're having a great day. Earlier on today, Justin Trudeau was speaking at a meeting in Toronto, a meeting of business people, liberal insiders, politicians, and ex-politicians. And he gave a speech, and then he ushered all of the reporters out of the room. But somebody forgot to turn off the mic, or at least turn off the PA system out in the foyer. And he was caught on mic saying a very interesting thing about how he felt that Donald Trump's threats of annexing Canada are real. Now, let's go to a news article in the National Post and see exactly what was said, and then we'll talk about it. The article in the National Post is titled, "Trudeau suggests Trump's serious about making Canada 51st state to secure minerals." Well, isn't that a surprise? Wasn't it just a few months ago, or I don't know, even up to a few weeks ago, that Trudeau was saying that Trump was saying those things all in jest? So, hey, I think has he changed his mind, or was he lying then, or is he lying now? Well, let's take a look at this article. So this was a meeting that he held today in Ottawa. And it was a meeting with some business leaders in both the United States and Canada. And what happened is he started off with some sort of introduction speech, and then he ordered all of the media out of the room. But lo and behold, somehow the mic was left on. So it was being broadcast not just to the room that he was speaking in, but also to the foyer where all the press was waiting. Sounds kind of familiar. He's been caught on hot mic before, but is this a plan, or, was he really caught unexpected? I don't know. But federal ministers afterwards said that there would be no messing with the Canadian-U.S. border after the Prime Minister stated that he believed Trump was serious about making this country the 51st state to secure Canada's critical minerals. So that's very interesting. It was later reported in the Toronto Star that Trudeau's comments that were caught on hot mic were these: "I suggest that not only does the Trump administration know how many critical minerals we have, but that may be even why they keep talking about absorbing us and making us the 51st state. Mr. Trump has it in mind that one of the easiest ways of doing that is absorbing our country, and that is a real thing." Later in the West Block, reporters caught up with Michael Barrett, the conservative ethics critic, and this is what went down there.
Good afternoon. This morning we saw Prime Minister Justin Trudeau go to Toronto and make a speech that was accompanied by no commitment for action, but he was joined by a room full of insiders and former politicians and politicians. And when he was done making his speech, without taking any questions from the media, he kicked them all out of the room and shut the doors. Now, we agree with Justin Trudeau on one thing, and that's that there should be a meeting happening and that the Prime Minister should be there. But that meeting should be here in Ottawa, and it should be right here in the House of Commons.
He goes on to repeat calls to open Parliament and basically point out how the Liberals aren't really serious, or don't seem to be serious, about the parliamentary system. They just want to do it all on their own, basically to be dictators. So that's my words, not his. So let's go to the question and answer portion of this press conference, because they do question him specifically on what was caught on hot mic today.
Is Donald Trump coming after Canada's critical minerals? Do you agree with the hot mic comments made by Prime Minister Trudeau earlier today, suggesting that we should take Donald Trump's threat of Canada becoming the 51st state seriously, and implying that Trump wants to control Canada's critical minerals?
Dominic LeBlanc, the finance minister, and Justin Trudeau both told Canadians, just down the hall from here actually, that the comments by President Trump were made in jest. and we're not to be taken seriously. So we've been told for the last several months that these comments weren't to be believed. So now we find ourselves in a situation where they're saying that a sudden crisis has emerged with respect to these comments that for months they've said weren't to be taken seriously. The Liberals have an opportunity to address this very important question that you ask, and it should be addressed right here in the House of Commons. That's where Canadians expect us to protect our national interests, to make sure that we have relationships and we have trade agreements and we have partnerships that put Canada first, including and especially with respect to our natural resources.
So that's a very good point. Justin Trudeau is now saying that there is a real threat to Canada's unity, to Canada's security, that Donald Trump is now serious about absorbing Canada. So why doesn't he recall Parliament? Is he putting Canada first, or is he just putting himself first and then the Liberal second? And maybe Canada is way, way down the list, because really he's a narcissist. We all know that. It's been said by many people. And he doesn't really care about Canada.
Does it concern you, though, that Canada's largest ally might be coming after our natural resources? I mean, and if you're in power, if you become government, what are you going to do about that?
Well, look, we've been told by the people who were at the table that these comments aren't to be taken seriously. That's
not the case now. So if it is the case that Donald Trump is coming after our natural resources, what are you going to do about it if you're in government?
If the assertion is that Mr. Trudeau was lying, then and that's your assertion, then it should be addressed here in the House of Commons. There were 338 members of Parliament elected. It's absurd that the Liberals have shut down Parliament so the debate can't happen about what we can do to put Canada first. What do we need to do to strengthen our borders? What do we need to do to have robust and diversified trade? And Mr. Poilievre has put forward a very clear plan with respect to strengthening our border, with respect to getting our critical natural resources, critical minerals and natural resources to Tidewater, getting them to market, repealing the legislation that the Liberals have passed that have stymied those efforts. So we've put forward a plan. This is the place that should be debated. Anything that Mr. Trudeau and Mr. LeBlanc have said obviously can't be believed. They've been demonstrated to be lying to Canadians. But that needs to be the issues need to be debated here in Parliament. That's what Canadians elected us to do.
Obviously, that's a good point. Was he lying then, or is he lying now? He's come up with this hot mic today where he says that Donald Trump is serious, where up until now, he's been saying Donald Trump isn't serious. So was he lying then, or is he lying now? That's a very good question. We know he's a liar. We know that he never follows through on anything he promises to do. And that should really concern us, especially since he's made these promises to Donald Trump so that we don't get the tariffs. And the tariffs have been put off for 30 days. So will he follow through with that? I don't trust him to do so.
Is your party to pass that Canada First plan, or is it to vote to bring down the government in a no-confidence vote?
We've been very clear that both things can be true. That we're prepared today to see the introduction of, debate, study, and pass legislation that does put Canada first, that secures our border, that breaks down those interprovincial trade barriers, that repeals the anti-resource development legislation that, like Bill C-69 that the Liberals have passed, and ensures that we can pass a bring-it-home tax cut for Canadians. We can address that issue, which the House is supposed to be sitting right now. We could be doing that, and then when that issue has been put to rest, we can deal with the matters of confidence, because Canadians are looking for a new government. They've seen that after 9 years, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals, they can't be trusted to protect Canadians' interests, and that's what should be front of mind for every single elected official and everyone who's running to be Prime Minister. is what are they doing today to put Canada first? Are they in hiding, or are they prepared to unlock the doors of the House of Commons and let Canada's 338 members of Parliament do their jobs?
So now we have a solid commitment that the Conservatives won't bring down the government until they've debated the Put Canada First initiative. So when they deal with these tariff threats. So that will be dealt with first, and then there'll be a non-confidence vote at the appropriate time. I think that's reasonable, although I also think that if the Parliament is recalled, that would be, might even be better for them just to call an election, because an election will happen within about 30 days or 36 days. And then guess what? The Conservatives will be in power, and they can do what is necessary to get the country back on track and get Donald Trump to forget about these tariffs.
Do you support the challenge that is going to be heard by the federal court next week, calling on the courts to overturn the prorogation?
The House of Commons should not have been prorogued by Justin Trudeau in order to, we believe that Parliament should be recalled in advance of would you like me to answer your question? We think that Parliament should be recalled today. It ought not to have been prorogued to begin with. This is a very important time for our country. There was no surprise to Justin Trudeau in the beginning of January that we were going to be dealing with these issues. He should not have prorogued Parliament. It should be recalled today. That's what Canadians expect, and that's why we're calling on the government to recall Parliament and to put Canada first. Thanks very much.
He did the right thing there. He's not putting all of his eggs in one basket. He's not relying on the court challenge to the prorogation. He's saying that Parliament should reconvene immediately, which it should. It should never have been prorogued in the first place. Now, we all want that court challenge, and even if Parliament is reconvened before that court challenge is heard, I think it's really important for that court challenge to be heard for future prorogations and to set the rules for future prorogations. But right now, Parliament needs to be reconvened. And to wait for that court challenge, well, of course, that would be kind of silly, because it's not even going to be heard until the end of next week. And a lot can happen in a week's time. But in addition to that, there are interveners, and they're going to be presenting their arguments at that court hearing. And then the parties involved have until the 18th to respond to those arguments. So no decision is going to be made until after the 18th. The judge will go away. He probably won't make a decision on the 18th. He'll probably take a few days, possibly even a week, to make his decision. So we're looking at the end of February for that court case to be challenged. Of course, we want Parliament back in session well before that time. So the question in my mind is, was this hot mic done on purpose? Was Trudeau trying to rile Canadians up by saying that Donald Trump is now serious? I think it's a good chance that it was done on purpose. Now, I have no proof of that. That's just speculation. But I think that it really feeds into Trudeau's plan to get Canadians riled up about this. But that's just my opinion. I'd love to know what you think. Put your comments down below. And while you're at it, please like this video, share with your friends and on social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you never miss another video. Also, please join me on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific time on both YouTube and Rumble for my live stream, where you're invited to join in on the conversation. Finally, I do teach the Canadian Firearm Safety course, and that is a course that you need to get your Canadian firearms license. And you need that to either possess or purchase a firearm in Canada. So if you reside on Vancouver Island and you want to take a course from me, there are links in the show notes of this video to my website where you can sign up for one. Also, before I go, there is also a link in the description of this video to a petition that I've started. And that petition is basically to petition the President of the United States to fund and sponsor a referendum in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and British Columbia about joining the United States. Because, hey, even if you don't want that to happen, it's good to tell him in a referendum what you think. So go down, check that out, go sign that petition. I think that it is worthwhile. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.